Okay, so this week I wanted to make a kind of short video, but it didn't really turn out that short, about functions. Okay, so what exactly is a function? A function is kind of like a thingy, né? That's gonna take an input and then do something with it. Yeah, kind of like the ones in mathematics. If you do pure maths or like advanced math and stuff like that. Okay, so in Python, to create a new function, you use the def keyword, for defining a function, and then you type the function name, and in parentheses, you put the parameters you want to use. Yeah, most of the time you're gonna be returning a value depending on what the function is for. So yeah, you can use the return keyword to specify what the function returns. We're gonna kind of explain this a bit more. Okay, so in this case, I'm gonna create a new variable called num, and then it's gonna be equal to what that function name function returns. I should have named that something else. Okay, this is a kind of bad example, but it takes in the input, right? That parameter number one, and then it's gonna return it again. So like now okay, what I did was I multiplied it by 3 so that you can kind of understand what's going on. Now let's create a new function, okay? We're gonna call it f. It's gonna take in one value x and then return x squared. By the way, this is how you do a square in Python. Okay, then now let me just create the variable, and then we can kind of print it so that we can see what's going on. Okay, as you can see, it returned the square of the value we inputted into the function. So yeah, it works. Okay, so I advise you play around with this for a bit, because now we're moving on to something a bit different. I want to give you guys a challenge. In the following table, there's a list of inputs and outputs, okay? So the function takes, one parameter, x, right? And then returns the square root of x. What I want you guys to do is implement something like this in Python. You can pause the video now, because, uh, y'all are watching this like in a different time. So like, yeah, you can pause the video now, but let me show you how I do it. It's not the only way you do it, but then this is how I do it. Okay, so notice that I'm not really gonna change much. The only part I really changed was the power I'm raising, the input to. I don't know if that makes sense. But then like what I'm gonna do now, I'm gonna take the thing, right? Then raise it to the power of, a half. That's the same as taking the square root of something. If you've guys, what's this, if you've learned about it from maths, this shouldn't be a surprise. But then for those that didn't know, you can do this, because I'm not sure if there's a square root function in Python, but I don't remember coming across it. So yeah, same answers we got in the table. I still advise that you play around with this a bit more, because these things are really really useful. And now, just as a side note, let me know if you guys want me to do a video on like essential mathematics used in programming. So yeah, as you can see, using functions reduces there's a lot of redundancy. I don't have to, keep writing the same line of code over and over again if I have functions. So yeah, now we move on to something a bit more interesting. These sort of compound functions. Okay, imagine this. Okay, x obviously is the input, right? Suppose you use x inside the function f, right? You're gonna get another, yeah, you're gonna get an output, right? But then let's say you take that output and then put it into another function. That's sort of the concept of, like, compound functions. So yeah, let's just do a simple example, the one which was on the table. So here we have the function f. It takes in an input, then returns the square root of that input, and then we have another function g. It takes an input, then returns the input after adding 1 to it. I hope that makes sense. But then let me just show you what it's actually doing. Okay, so if you've been paying attention thus far, this shouldn't be really complicated. As you can see, both of them, give us different results because they're doing different things. But then imagine we try to, like, combine them. In this case, we get the square root of 6 plus 1. Let's just do something here, just, to kind of visualize it. As you can see, the square root of 6 is that number. Now, if we put it in the function g, we should get that number plus 1. And there you go, it works. Okay, so I don't know if you guys haven't noticed yet, but then we've actually been using these compound functions for a while now. Let me just make a simple example, okay? So yeah, in this case, we have the function func. It takes in one parameter, which is arg, right? And then it's gonna return the value of arg multiplied by 2, okay? Now, say we print func of 9, right? What we should get is 18. So yeah, what this really did, right, was it computed, func of 9, which is 9 times 2, right? And then it returns 18, and then that 18 is put into the print function, then it's displayed to us. Again, compound functions just like the ones we did prior to this. Also, I'd like for you to note that as this Python has a number of built-in functions, kind of like the print function, but we're going to talk about those in other videos. For now, I want to talk about, like, specifying the types for parameters and return types of functions. So in this case, you can tell whoever wants to use the function that it needs an integer or a float as the input, and then it will return an integer or whatever other type you want. I remember talking about this in the previous video when we were talking about typecasting and stuff like that. It just makes code a bit more readable. Okay, now I noticed that I'm running out of time, so if you like this kind of content, remember to like and subscribe. I mean, it doesn't cost you anything and it helps out a ton. Thanks for watching.